Welcome to video number 2 in our Hidden in Plain Sight series. We're going to be talking about the families that rule the world. We're going to be breaking down reality. We're going to show it to you, and then it's up to you to decide whether you want to stuff all that information back in or whether you want to actually see things as they are, take off the rose-colored glasses. I'm not a financial advisor. Today, we're going to be talking about the families that rule the world. And there is really one family that rules the world completely, and that is the BothChildrens family. We're gonna get into in a little bit about how that happened and how it was a pretty good plan. Who would blame them? I guess is a good way to say it. And the other family that's very, very important is that OtherFeller family. You guys don't know John, that OtherFeller. He started the Council of Foreign Relations and is a very, very, very important person in the world and a very important family. Now, there's a lot of other families. We're gonna break down some of these other families that go beneath these ones. A lot of them act as facilitators on behalf of this family, but this is the main facilitator that we see in America. This is old USA right here. This is where the USA marching orders are handed out, is through this family right now. So let's go ahead, let's jump in to the video and let's take a look at exactly which families and how did it start and everything. Here we go.
Okay, so the first thing I did is I Googled most important families in the world. Here by wealth, you see you have the Al Nahyan family, Walton family, Hermes family, Mars family, Al-Thani family, the Koch family. You can pronounce it Koch, I believe. But it's very interesting, that there's no mention of the two wealthiest families in the world. Number one is what we like to call the BothChildrens family. Now, here's a little history of the BothChildrens family. In 1763, Mayor Amschel Rothschild joined brothers and family trading business. We're going to look at the family here in just a little bit. But then this is a very important date here in 1769, as Crown Prince Wilhelm gives Mayor title of court factor. What happened is the BothChildrens family started getting heavily involved with politicians, because politicians or kings or royalty, they saw a big advantage to befriending the BothChildrens family, and we'll tell you why here in just a little bit. Then we have 1770, Mayor married Gudle Schnapper. Ooh, what a Gudle Schnapper, I tell you what. Nathan Rothschild set up a textile business in Manchester, 1789. This is when really roots all across Europe started getting established. Nathan established N.M. Rothschild in London. You can see his 36 marriages of Mayor Rothschild's male descendants. A lot of intermarrying. We're going to look at some of that here in a little bit as well. Nathan and Moses Montefiore founded the Alliance Assurance Company, the beginning of a bunch of companies this family would be behind. Here in 2019, it says it reported $1.87 billion in revenue. Guys, they make so much more money than that. These are not things you can really research. And you might say, oh, well, it's obviously a conspiracy that they're, a super wealthy family that are on the list. Yeah, it's kind of the thing is they control the information. That's why they are who they are. Like, that's literally the entire thing. They control the information. They're worth trillions of dollars, and you can't see it on Google. Think about it. And you might say, oh, it's just blah, blah, blah. Well, let's take a look here. This here is how they really got started, okay? To truly see the power of information networks, one need look no further than how the wealthiest family of the 19th and 20th centuries, the Rothschilds, used them to wield international power. And it's important to understand that these families, almost all of the super important families in the world that you can't really find a ton of information about, they're all rich from the 1800s and on. Like the Walton families are very rich, but they don't have like a ton of political pull compared to the older families. It's like new money versus old money. You may look at Sam Mull and say, he's a super old guy. Well, when you're dealing with Europe, with countries that have been around for thousands of years, it's much different. An information network as an exchange platform or process for communication. So we think information. That's the power the BothChildrens family have. Information networks are often designed to disseminate valuable information, yet also might include conversations that are commonplace or even trivial. Everything's got to seem normal. We learned that from Lynette Zhang. Today's information networks transmit knowledge with blinding speed via computers, internet, and telecommunications. Of course, such mechanisms did not exist in the 1800s. There was no better information network in the 19th century than the system designed by the House of BothChildrens. We're going to be reading a lot here because this is very important. This is core information you need to know. According to economic historian Niall Ferguson, the BothChild banking dynasty originally consisted of Mayer and his 5 sons, Nathan, Amschel, James, Carl, and Solomon. Located in cities throughout the European continent, remember, sprinkling all across the continent, the BothChildren started business in textiles and antiques, but quickly moved into supplying financial resources for kings via personal loans and countries, the important date I told you about on the timeline. While more than a few characteristics made this family successful, one of their strongest advantages was a well-designed information network. Guys, you have to understand, this family is not powerful because they're evil. They're powerful because they were smarter than everybody else. I mean, that's what it boils down to. They used everything, all their resources and leverage, as you'll see here. This is what they did. With brothers located in the major financial districts at the time, Frankfurt, London, France, as Paris, I'm sure, Naples, and Vienna. The BothChildren effectively acted with unbreakable unity, always coordinating and communicating as a single entity. While the mail service existed at the time, the BothChildren discovered it was more reliable to set up their own information network. The network consisted of carrier pigeons and couriers on shipper horse. You cannot make this up. Literally, carrier pigeons are what allowed this family to get information before anybody else. Couriers were full-time associates employed by the BothChildren and were solely dedicated to the transmission of information. With the BothChildrens information network, letters that once took a week to travel the continent now traveled in a single day. Think of kind of as what crypto is kind of, right? Like things that used to take 5 to 7 days with Swift, now with XRP, it could take 30 seconds. The speed at which we do things is incredibly important. The most important thing that exists when it comes to information is having it first. And imagine the information flow exposed to that family when even kings trusted their correspondents. The kings were using the BothChildren family couriers, okay, with their information. What do you think that meant? It meant the BothChildren family had all the king's information at any time that they found pertinent to send to somebody else. Major political events as well as confidential information could be relayed from one city to another well ahead of official channels. Trading on information before it became public knowledge helped propel the BothChildren family to become the richest in Europe. They were so rich, guys, they were loaning money out to the Pope. And you have to understand that this relationship between the Vatican and the BothChildren family, it exists to this day. BothChildren family are behind ESG. They want ESG because it helps them profit and control businesses and eventually give us a social credit score, which is what all the elite people want for us. And so my point is, today, the way the Vatican is used, it's not some deep, dark secret. They're a mouthpiece. So if the family comes and they says, hey, remember we loaned you all that money and you guys have all this stuff of ours? And, we've allowed you to have your own city here. Hey, we need you to go start talking about the importance of climate change. Because, Pope, climate change is very important. We need to save the planet, obviously. Okay, so it's no duh. Go make people feel like it's their religious duty to care about the environment. So these companies will get those ESG scores up. And that's what they do. That's how they do propaganda. And look, is that a bad thing? Depends on how you look at it. I mean, obviously taking advantage and abusing people with information is not a good thing, but isn't that what you do in a game of poker, for instance, right? You have information about the other person's hand that they may not know that you know, and you use that to your advantage to abuse them on that hand. And a lot of people would say poker, markets, business, it's all kind of the same thing. So now here's the thing, guys. We're going to have a lot more videos breaking down this family and how they do control a lot of different things. Their hands in the CFR, their hands in Reuters. Okay, so for instance, okay, if you try to look online who owns Reuters, it's going to show you it's the Thompson family. I think they've owned it since 2008. Guys, the Thompson family is controlled by the BothChildren family. Guys, you can't make this stuff up. The banking dynasty, go look at the early days of the Thompson kind of dynasty, family dynasty, and you'll see they were made by the BothChildren family in the beginning. Right? This is the way things were. And do you know Reuters before it was bought in 2008 by Thompson? Do you know who founded it and ran it? It was a banker from the 1800s. You really have to understand this idea that banks run the world is not really a conspiracy. It's the family and the banks. And all the families were bankers that run the world. They were able to figure out ways to take everybody's money. One of these other families, as you guys can see, is I say that other family. And there is a link between these two for sure. Come down here. On paper, at least, this looks like a drool fest. Patriarchs, David, that other feller, and Lord BothChild, 76, go back. A fact confirmed when David, that other feller, said, is the deal's announcement. Lord BothChild and I have known each other for 5 decades, 50 years. Connection between the two families is very strong. Told you. Apparently, the courtship began 2 years ago when David first introduced his new multifamily office CEO, Reuben Jeffrey III. You can't make this stuff up, guys. Anyways, look, two families from the U.S. and Europe who, despite the occasional familial blips, only prove they are flesh and blood. One family. They're one family. You guys are going to understand all the intermarrying. There's so much intermarrying between these families to keep the wealth concentrated, and not like incest, just like, hey, Warburg family, we're over here, the BothChildrens family, let's link up. Let's get one of our sons and one of our daughters to meet at the non-family reunion, or whatever it is. So let's go ahead. Now, I want to catch you up to that OtherFeller family. Who is that OtherFeller family? Check this video out.
The Rockefeller family. The Rockefeller family, originating from Germany, rose to power in America, primarily in the oil industry. Led by John D. Rockefeller, they established Standard Oil, controlling 90% of U.S. refineries. Their wealth extended to banking with Chase Manhattan. Despite controversy and antitrust actions, their influence grew, shaping American industry and finance. By 1987, they were among the most powerful families globally. John D. Rockefeller's strategic vision and aggressive tactics made him the richest man globally. Their legacy reflects ambition and power, impacting generations. The Rockefeller family has not only been rich and influential in business, but also in politics. Nelson Rockefeller served as vice president under Gerald Ford, while John D. Rockefeller III championed social and environmental causes, creating over 20 national parks. Despite controversies over their oil ties, they committed to conservation, opposing fossil fuels. Some Rockefellers divested from oil, criticizing companies like ExxonMobil for climate change. Their foundation pledged $5 billion to fight fossil fuel development, highlighting their dedication to sustainability. Their political involvement, conservation efforts, and controversies shaped their legacy, showing their aim to positively impact society beyond wealth and power. John D. Rockefeller's generosity surpassed $540 million, focusing on education and healthcare. They established renowned institutions like Rockefeller University and funded colleges such as the University of Chicago. Their Rockefeller Foundation pioneers research on global challenges with a $5 billion endowment. Their contributions extend to arts, culture, and iconic landmarks like Rockefeller Center. Their philanthropy addresses social issues, improves healthcare, and promotes sustainability, leaving a lasting impact on American society. Their name resonates across buildings, parks, and institutions, symbolizing their enduring legacy of positive change.
Now, I think that's a pretty good video. It's a lot of propaganda in there, but this is the family that cornered oil and banking in the United States. Oil and banking in the United States. You can't make this stuff up, guys. You really can't. So, what do they do? David, that other feller, founds the Council for Foreign Relations, which is one of the two major policymakers in the world, the World Economic Forum and the CFR. Those are the main two. It's how the BothChildrens family get out their messages that they want to see across the world. And so CFR is very important. That OtherFeller family behind it. Okay. Now I wanted to check this out here. You see the Warburg family here. So what you have to think of is that other family is the American connection for the BothChildrens family. So they kind of run stuff here. Everything in the United States basically runs through this family, if you didn't know. Government's way down the list, but it runs through them. And there are other families in other parts of the world that do the same thing. So the Warburg family, which I don't know if I have to give them a code name or anything, Warburg family. I don't know anything about them. I don't know if they're whores or not. But I don't want any war with these guys. But this is a family very similar to that OtherFeller family. They just serve in other parts of the world, not in the United States. So I don't have as much information about them. I don't know as much about them, but I'm sure over time I will. But one thing I do know is that if you just scroll down the page here a little bit, you will find, look at this. While in New York City, Felix Warburg married Frieda Schiff, only daughter of Jacob H. Schiff, a banker who grew up in Frankfurt and had ties to the German Warburgs. Well, you know who that ancestor is. Peter Schiff, direct descendant, anti-Bitcoin, pro-gold guy. direct descendant of these ships that intermarried with the warbirds. So a little fun fact for you guys. So look, we're going to get more into Council of Foreign Relations when we have that video. We got a lot more videos coming for you guys tomorrow. We're going to get into the Bank of International Settlements and the central banks, and we're going to go from there. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned. The series is going to be really good. I know it's kind of like learning, but it really is important for you guys to get an understanding foundation of everything we're talking about and why it's so real, it's so important, and the only way, in a lot of cases, you're going to be prepared to be able to save your family, potentially, is by watching this channel and getting this information. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit the subscribe button. Notities on. Be blessed.